Customer Commerce Podcast, where technology's fast and biz is a blast.
In life and in business, time is precious. It's why customers stay or leave and why businesses succeed or fail. We're here to give a voice to everything that makes business, whether as a customer or as a CEO, easier and more rewarding. Welcome to the Customer Commerce Podcast. Let's dive in. Alrighty, welcome to episode 3 of the Customer Commerce Podcast. I'm Jess, your host, and it's my pleasure to be joined by StoreConnect CEO and founder Michael Linzar, who is the Mission Impossible man of coding and, fun fact, has created a code, you're going to have to help me with this, Michael, that like 99% of people use on a daily basis. Is that right?
I don't know what the percentage is, but basically it's a piece of software that is used to send and receive emails by computers. So a lot of the top Fortune 100 companies use this software on the back end. It's open source, it's free. I developed it and gave it away, but it's been downloaded several hundred million times.
So you're kind of like air. Like without you, we can't really exist. But with you, it's kind of like you're almost invisible.
I'd probably more say like I'm partially responsible for all those annoying emails you get sometimes. But, you know, on the flip side, I'm also, I think Uber still uses Ruby on Rails. So they're using my software, Basecamp. So any of these applications that send out an email saying, hey, you know, click here, you got a new notification or you did anything like this or reset password emails. A lot of those, not a lot, I mean, a good percentage of those come from the software that I wrote and open sourced a while ago. Yeah, it's been downloaded about 500 million times. So this is like talking to like a cultural icon, like on the order of Taylor Swift or something like that, and saying, yeah, I occasionally do a gig here and there. I mean, it's just the humility is killing me. Thank you, David.
No, I feel like that's
I don't think I'm quite at Taylor's level yet. But give me another couple of years and we'll see how we go.
We'll get your sparkly
I can definitely shake it off with the best of them. So I saw Tom Cruise and all of the Taylor Swift fans dancing to Shake It Off yesterday at Wembley.
Joining us as the third amigo, David Breyer, branding extraordinaire and coffee enthusiast, and someone who probably wants to use the word dingleberry more often than it's needed, I reckon.
This is true. Does he even know what dingleberry means?
Oh, I do. I'm not publishing it. I'm not defining it for the public. You can look at it. You can Google it yourself, everyone. I certainly know what it is.
I didn't. And I was like, man, David
you
loves
didn't?
the word
You're
dingleberry,
Australian.
I reckon.
How did you not know what a dingleberry was?
I don't know. I thought it was an American word. And then I Googled it being like, maybe I'm just going to put it in this introduction because it sounds really funny. And then I looked it up and I was like, ew.
Yep, maybe not.
Anyway,
thank you, Jess, for that safe for work introduction to the Customer Commerce Podcast. That's fantastic.
I like your introduction much better, Michael. I think you got the better end of the deal.
This one, yeah. I'm just going to keep adding to them each time. So
actually, Dingleberry has the same initials, so it works well.
Like, payback time. There it is.
DB. All right. Okay, so
we're gonna stop and start the podcast now, and are you gonna do the introductions?
Awkward. No, but now that everyone knows every single little thing about you guys, we can get on with it.
That is all there is to know about both of us.
Yes. That's it.
Well, actually, it's so fitting because this episode is called "Let's Get Personal" from the Olivia Newton-John. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Let's get personal. And we're going to be speaking this episode specifically around personalized shopping experiences and their impact on customer loyalty and sales. So I think we're going to jump into, we were just talking, David and I, about small businesses, large businesses that apply this kind of personalized shopping experience. And the most obvious thing that came to my mind on kind of a worldwide thing is like Netflix personalized recommendations of the shows and Spotify, which I listen to so much music. And I was just saying to a friend yesterday, I would not know about this many incredible artists if it were not for Spotify, which they have their own issues on the actual artist support aspect, but the business model of the personalization is very clever because it's so tailored to your sound, and that's kind of addictive to in a trust aspect, because now I'm like, I go to Spotify to listen to new music. So I wanted to kind of like open it up to the panel, and if you guys have, you know, suggestions on certain businesses that you've seen and the personalization in that, and how other small businesses could maybe, you know, implement something similar, and why that might help increase customer loyalty.
Well, I'll just throw out a couple of things. I have no doubt that Michael has like an encyclopedia of insights, but I look at it from a customer experience standpoint. We live in such an automated, for me, we're in such an automated world. You know, there's pressure on the side of businesses wanting to do things more efficiently, but oftentimes they'll lose sight of the fact that depersonalized it. That made, you know, things along the line of, well, we're going to help you by putting you through 15 layers of a menu tree on a phone, so that by the time you actually speak to someone, you basically, an actual human being, you want to basically strangle them. But, you know, so the personalization can be abused and done the wrong way. When it's done the right way, to me, it's the secret sauce. It's magical because so few businesses do it and really do it well. I'll start with that.
Yeah, I think, you know, it's one of the chapters in you know, to be self-serving in my book coming out called Customer Commerce, called Get Personal, right? I think the biggest challenge with personalization is, Jess, you just gave the perfect example of the biggest challenge, is that your go-to example of personalization is a multi-billion-dollar business, right? And when you're a small business and you go, well, what's personalization? Spotify or Netflix. Where do I begin with that? You know, you can't. That you just don't have the resources. And I think David just hit it on the head there, is personalization. Sure, you can. The reason Spotify, Netflix, the reason these seem like magic is they're doing personalization at scale. And if they hadn't figured that out, they'd be near useless for what they need to do. But the truth is that personalization doesn't have to be at scale to begin with. You can do personalization at a one-on-one human level. And the first chapter of the customer commerce book after the introduction is actually just be human, right? So what David was mentioning is, as a small business, you have to work out the personalization is just being human. It's having a conversation with someone. And when you're having a conversation with someone, like, I'm just looking at my desk, and actually I don't know if I should show what's on my desk, but you know, if you just bought a stapler, right? And then the next thing the person who's serving you goes, nice stapler, would you like this can of dad jokes? You know, it's like, why are you suggesting dad jokes after a stapler? You know, maybe a box of staple refills, that would be nice. Or a staple remover, you know, that would be intelligent. And that's what we expect if we're dealing with a human. Like, you would never have a situation where the human would offer you something totally disrelated to what you've just purchased during your checkout experience. And one of the problems that's happened over the years is we've gone from everything was in person, everything. There wasn't online. And in a very short period of time, probably a bit faster than our society can cope with the change, to be honest, we've gone from everything in person to everything trying to be not in person, not personal, right? So everything's going to a not personal situation where you've got computers in between and algorithms and all this stuff. And small businesses are looking at that going, why aren't we making the same sales we used to? Thinking that they're the same as Walmart or Amazon or Netflix, who have millions and millions of dollars to throw at that problem of personalizing the depersonalization of shopping. And they're just missing the point that they just have to be human. You know, and there are so many own goals on this. I could rant on this for an hour, but that would be my first salvo into this, is you just have to be human. I wouldn't worry so much about optimizing the recommended product algorithm. If you're a really small business, work out a way that you can look at your orders and individually recommend some products onto them. send an email to someone who just bought your product and say, hey, by the way, blah, 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 blah. You know, make an automated email that says, if anyone has bought this product and they haven't bought this product, send them this email. And these are things that you could just create individually. They don't take a lot of work. And as long as you have all that data in one source of truth, and that's a different problem, but you can start sending out these just individual emails, and that becomes personalization. Use your brain. You know, it's millions of times more powerful than ChatGPT or any algorithm that's going to try and do it. So that's what I would say.
And in business currently, there's such a trend toward how do we increase efficiency? How do we increase? It's looking at the quantitative. And here's the distinction for me. There's the quantitative elements. Okay, there's the quantitative elements of how do we increase efficiency? So how do we get more done in less time? How do we fill up the pipeline, which is quantitative? How do we do this? How do we do that? How do we do that? Which is all valid, except usually, unless you have a very smart CEO or a very smart customer experience culture, it comes at the cost of the quality side, which is, I mean, if you're going to ask, how do we increase efficiency? You must at the same time ask, how do we increase our personal ability, if that's the word?
Yeah.
How do we increase those at the same concurrent, not one and then the other? Don't jockey. Concurrent.
Yeah, I don't know about that, David. I'd say that increasing the personalization and the humanity and creating surprise and joy and valuing the time of our customers, that is an order of magnitude more important than improving the efficiency of your operation, unless you're going out of business because of your inefficiencies, right? But given that you have a going concern, I would focus very, very heavily on those first ones.
Mm-hmm.
And you know that the aspect of this personalization, I had an amazing point I was going to make, David, and you totally derailed it. But that's all right. It happens.
Well, I was just thinking while you're thinking of it, though, because I think a lot of people now have the consideration of it takes too long. I mean, there's so many avenues that a small business has to be on. They have to be on social media. They have to have email marketing. They have to have the CRM. They have to have like all these things. I mean, I've never run a business like that, and I never have, previously before. So I don't really know the difference, but you can definitely sense the overwhelm on social media from all different careers. So I feel like a lot of people think that maybe customizing or focusing on that one customer takes too long, or it's too hard, it's not worth it in the end to, in regards to when they could have, in that time spent, they could have worked on an email that went out that was a sale, or you know what I mean? Like kind of like,
you still need to do the sale. So this is one of the things about the difference between just being a B2B and a B2C company and a direct-to-consumer company. And direct-to-consumer is what I champion a lot. I think companies really need to go down that line. And this is one of the things where I think one of the mistakes companies make in the small business is thinking about the next sale for the new customer. And that next sale from the new customer, it's like a hit of sugar. It gives you some instant buzz, but then it dies off very, very quickly. If small businesses do this one thing, I think it will change that stress level on all these social media channels, all this sort of stuff. Instead of thinking about the next sale as your primary thing, right? You still got to think about it. Obviously, you still have to get your income in. You still have to demand that sales. You still have to do those sales and marketing campaigns. Start thinking about what's the lifetime customer value. How much is this one customer going to bring back into your business if they love you? And that's the key thing, right? If you have provided a personal experience to a customer in such a way that they're now an ambassador of yours, and they'll walk over hot coals to buy from you as opposed to buying from one of your competitors. Or you inspire them so much that they do a social media post. That is going to generate so much more traffic in the future to your company, not only from that one customer, but from everyone they influence. And it's a well-known fact. You can ask any SEO social media guru on earth. A customer posting about your business has so much more engagement and reach than you posting about your own business by, I don't know how many more orders of magnitude, but 10, 100, 500. So you could spend 500 moments of creating social media content, or you could get 1 or 2 customers raving about your service, and they're probably equal in terms of reach. That's a powerful datum. I'm not saying don't do any social media, do what you can. But I'm just very aware that these people that he's running, these small to medium businesses that are trying to get into this whole direct-to-consumer route, trying to focus on lifetime customer value, or customer lifetime value is usually what it's acronymed as, CLV. They don't have a lot of time, right? They're not sitting there with buckets of time and buckets of money like some massive department chain executive in a board going, marketing team, social media team of 30 people, go forth and blah. That's great if you're that level. But if you're not, you gotta pick the biggest bang for buck and start looking at what's that customer lifetime value. What is that CLV of Jess, who's just come in and bought this item? It was the wrong one. She called you up on the phone that works on your website, and she spoke to you, the owner, or your sales assistant, or someone who said with a smile, "I'm really sorry about that, Jess. I can see that you've bought from us many times. You're a VIP for us." Instantly, Jess is like, "I'm a VIP, of course I'm a VIP. Absolutely, I'm a VIP. Do you know how many people I've told about your product?" And then you just handle it, right? You make a little bit of a loss on that sale. But now Jess is like, these guys are fantastic. Next time I need something, I'm going to buy it from them because I have the confidence that they will deliver. And when at the end of the day, the only thing that matters, the only reason you make money in business is someone has the confidence that if they give you the money, you will give them something in return that they're expecting. So whatever you can do to increase that confidence level will increase your profitability, and that will handle this issue. And again, it's just being human. Just be personal.
Now, I think more than ever from a consumer point of view, as someone that just posts like their day in the life or whatever, I think more people want to post their favorite hair salon or their favorite grocery or their a brand that they love because they want to help their own friends and family. And because we're predominantly online now, I think, then that it's just like, it's basically free marketing because no one's asking me to post about blah, but I'm like, I want all my friends to enjoy the same thing. So regardless if they see it or not, I'm still going to post about something that I love. So you may as well just make those experiences memorable. And yeah, totally. What were you going to say, David?
I completely agree with the scenario that Michael had portrayed with regard to, and I was relating to it because the factor of like you expect something and you're going to get what you expect. That level of confidence is vital. And I was just thinking about that because my wife and I, literally, we just bought a new mattress. The in-store experience was fine. It's everything that's happened afterward that basically makes me want to go on Yelp and give them freaking 1 star. Seriously, this you can beep out. Those motherfuckers really fucked us over in terms of the post-sales experience. It sucked. It sucked. Everything was fine. But then something came in that wasn't in the order. It came in and it sat there for 3 weeks. They never called us. We called the day. We say, "Where's the delivery of it?" "Oh, it's been sitting in the store for 3 weeks." "Well, why didn't anybody call us?" "Well, we were expecting you would come to us." That was the first thing. And then the second was in delivery. We didn't know, but when you do mattress platforms these days have like a number of two or 3 or 4 sort of like designated things. You can adjust the legs up or down, but you need to know when they're bringing it and installing it to ask. Either you need to know to ask for that, or they need to say, "Hey, by the way, it has 3 or 4 options. Which one would you like?" Well, until it's actually assembled, and then you have all the mechanics, you have the weight, and you have all the crap, and now we're dealing after the fact. So they went from like giving us what we expected, totally nice, totally fine, to afterwards, it's like, we're just a freaking transaction. It depersonalized everything that was right.
Yep, your post-sales interactions are just as important as your pre, if not more so.
Yeah.
And there's a what's the actual study? I have to find it. We'll have to put it in the show notes, Jess. But there was a study done that consumers only remember the best and worst experience of a transaction. So you can be 99% okay, like in David's example, 99% okay, and 1% absolutely crap. And what they're going to remember is not 99 times the okay multiplied out by 1% crap. They're just going to remember one okay moment and one absolutely crap moment, which means the overall experience is absolutely crap minus a little bit of okay, if that makes sense, right? You're going all the way to the down problem of how bad it was and a little bit above average. So your total score is way down the bottom. It's not an average over the entire experience that the customers are going to remember. It's only going to be that best moment and that worst moment. And this is why, if you have an absolutely crap moment, so David just experienced that, right? And I'm sorry for your loss, David. But David just experienced that. If he got an out-of-the-blue phone call tomorrow from the CEO of that mattress company who said, David, I heard about what happened. I am absolutely horrified. The people that installed your mattress were a brand new consulting firm. We're fixing that. And I'm sending a team over at any time in the next 5 days to ensure that your mattress is 100% okay and it's up to speed. And we're going to fix that. And then that company arrived on time and they did everything that David expected. And out of the blue, there was a brand new set of sheets, that were on the bed. It wouldn't even have to be that expensive, right? It could have been a box of chocolates saying, I'm sorry, right? Whatever. If that happened over the next week, David would turn around from hating that company and swearing to never buy again to probably posting about it to his 20,000, 30,000, 100,000, 50 million brand followers he has, and it being part of his next book. And this is where the personalization really comes into it.
I have a question now. So why do you, your opinion, why do you think that doesn't happen? Because it doesn't happen, really. It's very rare.
They're not looking. How many companies have you received where you get an actual meaningful communication from some manager that says, how was your post-sales experience?
Yeah, very
rare.
Remember one.
And some of the times when you get it, when you click on it, it's taking you to a form that's like 300 questions long and you go, oh, screw this. I didn't agree to invest half an hour of my day into this problem. I just wanted to give you an answer. Or worse, it takes you to a site where you have to now log in and verify who you are and all this sort of stuff. And you're like, this is not part of the conversation. I just want to tell someone it sucked. You should implement a situation where post-sales, someone receives an email. The person that bought it receives an email that says from the CEO, should be plain text, direct to the CEO or an email box that they're monitoring, but don't send them to a massive site. How was your experience? Well, let me know. Is there anything we could have done to make it better for you? Free form. Just tell us. Don't use it as some arbitrary. I mean, you can if you want. If you want to take that and give it a scale and a score and do all that sort of stuff, you're more than welcome to. But just have that conversation.
Yeah.
That's why they're not doing it. I mean, if David replied and said the in-store experience was okay, and then as a CEO I received it, I go, holy hell, I had no idea. Really? That's what happens? I don't know. I don't go and install my mattresses anymore. I've got people that do this. I'm expecting them to do it properly, and doesn't give them an excuse to not having it handled. At least this way you can find out.
Just to wrap up the end of this, there's some cute little stories that I think, we've talked about David's almost real customer itself, but there's actually really cool things that businesses are doing. So I've got a few stories that I'm going to share. And one of them is from a business called Sainsbury's.
Sainsbury's is it's like a local store. It's like in Australia we have Coles and Woolworths, and it's like a really mini Aldi. Right. Coles or Woolworths or Walmart. It's just a very small store. They're called Sainsbury Locals. They're everywhere. It's like 7-Eleven in the US, but bigger. It's got more food and vegetables, and it's a proper supermarket, but not a supermarket. It's like a mini market.
There was a little girl called Lily Robinson, and she's 3 years old. She suggested renaming Sainsbury's Tiger Bread to Giraffe Bread because it looked more like a giraffe. And when you see it, the loaf of bread, it does look more like spots than like stripes. So Sainsbury's embraced this quirky suggestion, sent the little girl a letter, which you can actually see on the internet, with a gift voucher of like $20 or something to buy some giraffe bread and some other treats, and decided to actually change the product name to giraffe bread. And then obviously that got lots of press. It just put lots of just joy and a shit ton of advertisement for them as well.
Mm-hmm.
So,
did they just get picked up everywhere as far as like on a like every?
Yeah, it's on BBC News World. Tiger bread renamed giraffe bread by Sainsbury's.
It's like what Stanley did with their Tumblr. That was the only thing that survived in that burnt car. I mean, the CEO talked about that. These are perfect examples of personalization. It's like, when do you actually hear that? When do you when it's not just a pitch, or what I call like a kind of a gray suit, and it's highly scripted and it's very staged, but actually it's like, you know what? Wow, you reached me as a dad. You connected to me on a human level. That's fantastic. You're a young person. Thank you so much for lighting up our world, and we're going to celebrate it. I mean, how often is that a communication like that even shared? So that's wonderful.
But I also love that you could do that in such a lighthearted way. Like, it could have just been like, oh, that's so cute. Ha, rather than, I feel like more business owners would focus on the really serious ones of like, yeah, we should absolutely, if that was a nightmare, fix it and stuff like that. But then there's innocent, or not innocent, but more quirky. Yeah. And you don't actually have to, that manager or the CEO probably didn't even really have to, like, it wouldn't have made much of a difference, but it did. And
totally.
And from a human aspect, everyone's like, oh my God, that's so cute. And everyone loves little kids.
Yeah, this story, that 3.5-year-old, if she grows up, I think it's her name's Lily Robinson, age 3.5, and her letters goes, "Dear Sainsbury's, why is it tiger bread?" Anyway, it's a very cute little letter. You can see it on the BBC website. But that 3.5-year-old, you can guarantee now that they're a lifetime client for giraffe bread. I mean, that's just given until the kid doesn't eat bread anymore. Secondly, the mum's told everybody she knows. Thirdly, that kid might grow up to be an influencer, and part of her TED Talk is the time that she got a major national chain to change their bread because they listened, right? So this could be 40, 50, 60, 70 years of positive effect for Sainsbury's. And the key is that that's not the reason to do it. The reason to do it was it makes sense. And yeah, I looked at the bread and it definitely doesn't look like tiger bread. It looks like giraffe. So it just makes sense. Just do it. And this is an example where a corporate is not trying to be corporate, for want of a better word. They're trying to just be human, and they're trying to humanize the engagement and be that relationship, and that's going to pay dividends for ages. But again, not the sole reason to do it. You just do it because it's the right human thing to do. And if you do the right human things, everything else comes to you anyway. So if a small business is sitting there going, what should I do in this situation? And there's a situation that they're not sure how to handle, the easiest answer is, how would I like to be treated as a human if it was happening to me? And then just do that. You don't need a marketing guru magazine, or, you don't need to hire some massive consultant. Just go through your last 4 or 5 bad customer experiences by survey. So send out an email, not a marketing email, not full of ads and images, not at the footer of you should always have it at the footer of every email saying, have you had a bad experience with us? Let us know. But just send out a plain text email to your last 20 customers and just say, how do we do? Is there anything I could do to make your experience with us better? And then take the worst one of those and just handle it. And then take the next one and just handle it, both individually and as a process, so it doesn't happen in the future. And that will generate you more income than you will believe.
Love it.
And the great thing is that if you just listen to the word, it's human. So if it's less me, more you, we're all set.
That's a beautiful way to end it.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Hope it helped.
Keep it real. Keep it human.
Go to realcustomers.com to leave your real customer story. So it's real, REAL, CUSTOMERS.com. And that's where you can leave an anonymized communication about an experience that you had. And don't worry if you say the name of the company accidentally, we'll bleep that out. And you can swear all you want, we'll bleep that out. And let's hear your stories and we'll talk about them and feature them on the podcast. And if we do feature your story, we'll send you a Steve. Steve, the amazing mascot of the customer commerce revolution.
He's amazing. He's amazing.
Thanks, Jess.
Okay,
Thanks,
gentlemen.
David.
See you guys next time for
Bye.
the
Next
Customer Commerce Podcast. Thanks for joining us today. We hope you had an awesome time leaving you with ideas on how to improve your business and wow customers. If you'd like to leave a real customer's story, head to the link in our show notes and cuss away. Love the show? Please subscribe and leave a review because that enables us to help more businesses in building real relationships with customers and grow more rapidly. See you next time.